All right, Raider Nation, let's dive into what's been buzzing around lately. There's been no shortage of chatter on social media, with people throwing around hot takes and bold claims about the Las Vegas Raiders. And honestly, some of it is just wild. But here's the thing. You can't just go around calling players busts or ranking teams without actually watching the games, because context matters. Let's start with Ashton Gentry, who's been at the center of a lot of the recent debate. I've seen it everywhere, and I even wore a shirt today to make a point. There are articles and posts claiming that Gentry is already a bust, that he's not living up to expectations, and that the Raiders made a huge mistake drafting him. But if you actually watch the game, it tells a completely different story. Sure, Gentry only put up 38 rushing yards on the box score in his first game, but here's the crazy part. After contact, he racked up 44 yards. Let that sink in. He gained more yards after defenders hit him than he did before any contact. That's not the sign of a bust. That's a rookie fighting through defenders, trying to make something out of nothing. People throwing around the word bust after a single game clearly didn't watch the matchup because the reality on the field was way more nuanced. The offensive line wasn't giving him running lanes, and yet he still managed to make plays. That tells you everything you need to know about his effort, toughness, and skill set. Now, I'm not saying Gentry is flawless. There's no question that his pass protection needs work. If we're going to draft a running back in the top 5, you want him to be a bell cow type, someone who can run, catch, block, and carry the offense when needed. There were moments in the tape where he could have done better, no doubt. The pass blocking numbers aren't great on paper, and he needs to improve there. But let's put it into perspective. He was protecting in a wet, rainy environment against blitzes and defenders flying off the edge. This wasn't a clean, ideal situation. It was a test of his readiness for the NFL, and I think he handled it far better than most give him credit for. You have to factor in the context before making judgments. 1 week does not define a player's career, especially a rookie running back coming into a team that's still adjusting and rebuilding. Speaking of context, there's another layer to this whole conversation about Gentry being labeled a bust. Some commentators have been quick to point fingers, but their arguments don't hold up if you actually watch the film. Criticizing Gentry for not performing in the passing game or struggling in pass protection without considering the conditions of the game or the pressure on the offensive line just doesn't add up. If you want to make a serious claim, you have to have the evidence to back it up. The way some articles were written, you'd think the author just glanced at the box score and decided to type a hot take without seeing what really happened on the field. That's lazy analysis. Details matter, especially when you're talking about a top draft pick. Gentry isn't just another running back. He's a high pick with expectations, and that means his development needs to be measured accurately, not through clickbait headlines. And let's be honest, part of what makes watching the Raiders so exciting is seeing young players like Gentry grow and prove themselves in real time. One game doesn't tell the full story, and it's ridiculous to make sweeping statements about a player's career trajectory after a single performance. He's shown flashes of talent, resilience, and vision, and those are qualities that can't be measured purely by yardage or box score stats. This is why Raider Nation gets frustrated when outside analysts tear apart the team without understanding the bigger picture. You can't just cherry-pick stats or make assumptions without considering the actual conditions and challenges the players faced on the field. Now, beyond Ashton Gentry, there's been chatter about where the Raiders stand in the AFC West. Some pundits have been claiming that Las Vegas is the worst team in the division, ranking the team lower than Denver, Kansas City, and Los Angeles. But if you step back and look objectively, that's misleading. Yes, the season is early, and yes, there's a long way to go, but ranking the Raiders as the absolute worst overlooks key factors. For instance, quarterback play is central to a team's success in the NFL. Comparing Geno Smith to the quarterbacks in the rest of the division, you can see that there's talent and opportunity to compete. Meanwhile, Denver's quarterback situation is shaky at best, which, despite a strong defense, makes their outlook far less promising than some rankings suggest. So to claim that the Raiders are the weakest link simply because of a snapshot of early season performance is ignoring the nuances of football. The team has pieces in place, and with the right adjustments, they can absolutely compete in a tough division. And speaking of adjustments, let's talk about wide receivers because that's another hot topic. Recently, the Raiders have been linked to veteran targets in free agency, with names like Tyler Boyd coming up repeatedly. Some fans and analysts immediately assume interest means a deal is imminent, but that's not necessarily the case. While adding a veteran receiver could make sense, especially after the Amari Cooper situation, it's important to assess fit and readiness. Boyd has a history of solid production, but is he in peak football shape to contribute right away? That's the question. The Raiders need someone who can step in and make a tangible impact, not just a name on a contract. Other options exist. Players like Robert Woods, who is already getting reps on a practice squad, offer reliability and readiness. There's value in connecting with players who understand the system, who have coaching relationships that can help them integrate quickly. The team has learned from past experiences, and bringing in a player who can immediately contribute rather than taking a gamble on someone who might not be ready is a smarter approach. At the end of the day, the narrative around the Raiders often gets skewed because of surface-level analysis. People love to create drama and debate hot takes, but if you're actually looking at the games, the stats and context, and the conditions under which the players are performing, the story looks very different. Ashton Gentry is not a bust. The team is not dead last in the division. And while veteran receivers are a point of discussion, it's far from a done deal. Context, preparation, and actual performance on the field matter far more than sensational headlines or social media chatter. That's what being a smart Raider fan is all about. Looking past the noise, understanding the game, and appreciating the effort and skill that goes into every play. And let's not forget, the Raiders are a team in transition, with new coaching strategies, evolving player roles, and an offense that's still finding its rhythm. It's crucial to give players like Gentry room to grow. The narrative of bust or worst in the division is premature. Fans who truly follow the silver and black know that development takes time, and patience paired with keen observation is key. Watching the tape, seeing the work in adverse conditions, and understanding the complexity of each play paints a picture far more accurate than any article or social media post could convey. Now, shifting gears to the wide receiver situation, this has become one of the hotter debates among Raider fans recently. There's been a lot of noise about veteran free agents, particularly Tyler Boyd. I get why his name keeps coming up. He's a proven receiver, someone who can line up in the slot and create separation in the passing game. But here's the thing. Just because a name is out, there doesn't mean the Raiders are locked in on signing him. You have to think about fit, opportunity, and how a player can contribute immediately. Boyd is a veteran, sure, but the Raiders have to ask themselves whether he fills a real need or if there's a better option that aligns with the team's long-term plan. After the Amari Cooper saga, the front office has been cautious about bringing in veterans who may not be in peak football shape or who might disrupt the chemistry of the receiving corps. Boyd could be in good physical shape, but football shape, that's a different question entirely. The difference between just being fit and being ready to go in a live NFL game is massive. If you step back, it's clear that the Raiders aren't looking for just a name. They're looking for reliability, someone who can step in on day one and understand the system. That's where someone like Robert Woods comes into play. He's currently on a practice squad, which means he's already getting reps and maintaining game readiness. He's familiar with professional-level coaching and has a track record of durability, having played at least 14 games in each of the last 3 seasons. That kind of consistency is valuable when adding a veteran to a team that's trying to build sustainable depth. And let's not overlook relationships. Pete Carroll, Senior VP of Coaching Operations for the Raiders, recruited Woods to USC back in 2009. Those kinds of connections matter. Players who already have a relationship with the coaching staff or understand the organizational culture can integrate faster and make an impact without the adjustment period you might get with someone completely new to the team's philosophy. Now, I know some fans are excited about big-name options like Odell Beckham Jr. And sure, need a highlight reel waiting to happen. But let's be real. Health and consistency are major concerns. OBJ has had injury issues, and the Raiders have to weigh whether bringing in a player who might not be ready week 1 is worth the risk. That's why it makes more sense to consider someone like Woods or even other under-the-radar veterans who have been in the league, getting reps and staying in football shape. These are the players who can step in and contribute immediately while minimizing risk. The Raiders have a history of valuing players who fit this mold, and I think the front office is approaching this free agent period with that mindset. It's also worth noting that the Raiders aren't just hunting for flashy signings. The team has brought in lesser-known players during the offseason, guys that might not make headlines but can provide depth, versatility, and competition at key positions. Players like Isaiah Baldwin, Alex Johnson, and Samori Toure have all been part of recent workouts. You probably haven't heard of them, and that's the point. The Raiders are building from the inside out, making strategic decisions about who can actually contribute to winning football games. Depth matters more than ever in the NFL, and having reliable backups who are ready when called upon can be the difference between winning close games and falling short. Looking at the offense as a whole, Geno Smith is currently leading the league in several key passing metrics. That shows the team is capable of moving the ball downfield and creating opportunities for receivers. But adding a veteran who can stretch the field, contribute both inside and outside, and complement the existing roster is crucial. That's where the debate between Boyd, Woods, and others comes into play. Boyd could fill a slot role, sure, but the Raiders also need someone who can line up on the outside, run precise routes, and command attention from defenses. Robert Woods checks several of those boxes. He brings experience, reliability, and a connection to the coaching staff, making him a low-risk, high-reward option for a team that's trying to maximize its chances of winning immediately while staying focused on the long-term plan. Another angle to consider is the impact of bringing in a veteran receiver on the team's younger players. When you add a player who is ready and reliable, it can actually elevate the development of rookies and younger talent. They get to learn from someone who's been through the grind, who understands the timing, the schemes, and the subtleties of NFL play. That mentorship can be invaluable, especially in a division as competitive as the AFC West. Every little advantage matters, from understanding defensive tendencies to maintaining composure under pressure. That's why a thoughtful acquisition is more important than just signing the most popular or most talked about name. The bigger picture here is that the Raiders are building a team that can sustain success. They've seen what happens when they overcommit to a single big-name signing, like the Amari Cooper situation, and they're approaching this process with a more strategic mindset. Every addition has to be purposeful, whether it's a top draft pick, a veteran free agent, or a hidden gem from a practice squad. They're thinking about chemistry, readiness, fit, and long-term impact. That's why the chatter about Tyler Boyd is interesting but far from definitive. He's a possibility, sure, but there are smarter moves the Raiders could make that align better with their current roster and overall strategy. So while the media might be blowing up with rumors, the reality is more nuanced. The Raiders are evaluating options, looking for the right mix of talent, experience, and fit. They're not chasing headlines. They're trying to make decisions that give them the best chance to win now and set themselves up for sustainable success. And that's what it takes to compete in today's NFL, especially in a division as stacked as the AFC West. It's not about panic signing or reacting to outside pressure. It's about measured decisions, analysis, and making sure every move contributes to the bigger picture. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing louder than ever, and all eyes are on Las Vegas this week. Word on the street is that Marvin Harrison Jr., the young wide receiver who has been turning heads since his college days, has reportedly inked a deal with the Raiders. While no official announcement has been made, sources close to the team hint that Harrison Jr. could be the missing piece in Las Vegas's offensive puzzle, a potential game-changer under center. Harrison Jr., whose name carries the weight of NFL legacy, is known for his explosive speed, sharp route running, and uncanny ability to find open space against even the most disciplined defenses. Fans have been clamoring for him to land with a team that would truly showcase his talents. And if the whispers are accurate, the Raiders might just be that perfect landing spot. The excitement around Allegiant Stadium is palpable, with insiders suggesting that the young star could redefine the team's aerial attack almost immediately. The buzz isn't just about the contract. Sources suggest that Harrison Jr. has been in close talks with the Raiders coaching staff for weeks, discussing how he could fit into the current playbook and what kind of chemistry he could develop with the quarterback. The young receiver's style is said to be a natural fit for Las Vegas's aggressive passing schemes, potentially turning the Raiders into one of the league's most dangerous offensive threats next season. Of course, this is still very much in the realm of rumor. The NFL world has seen plenty of premature reports, and cautious fans are waiting for the official confirmation before celebrating. Yet, social media is already ablaze with speculation, mock lineups, and highlight reels imagining Harrison Jr. in silver and black. If this deal does go through, it wouldn't just be a win for the Raiders. It would signal a new era for a team hungry for a breakout star. One thing is certain. Wherever Marvin Harrison Jr. lands, the league will be watching. And if the whispers prove true, the Raiders may have just landed the jewel in their crown, a young, dynamic receiver ready to turn potential into spectacular reality. Keep your eyes on Las Vegas. This could be the start of something big. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.